For sure.
So I just texted you. So.
Have you step outside of the vehicle here?
No, you're not.
Turn off the car. Turn off the car.
No, you're not.
299, she's fleeing.
No.
Get out of the car!
Any first precinct car, I need a couple of units to respond to the intersection of Lucas and Hunt and West Florissant. Jennings is out. Correction, West Florissant's out the full way. Jennings is out with the subject that's armed and actively firing rounds as well.
I'll be around.
Every single day, in every city across America, police officers do something that most people never think twice about. They pull a car over. Maybe the driver ran a red light. Maybe a tail light is out. Maybe someone called 911 about an erratic driver. The officer flips on the lights, pulls the car to the side of the road, and walks up to the window. Simple, routine, safe, except it isn't always. And what you are about to see will prove that beyond any doubt. In 2025 alone, 3 separate traffic encounters in 3 different American cities went from completely ordinary to completely catastrophic in a matter of seconds. Not minutes. Seconds. A woman behind the wheel of an SUV. A man who ran from a simple traffic stop. Another man who abandoned his crashed car and opened fire on a public street. 3 different stories. 3 devastating outcomes. And one urgent question running through all of them. How does a routine stop become a fatal one? Tonight, we go inside these 3 incidents. Through body camera footage, police radio transmissions, and official investigations, to understand exactly what happened, why it happened, and what it means for all of us. Because whether you wear a badge or you have never had so much as a parking ticket, these stories belong to you. They happen on streets just like yours. They happen in broad daylight and in the dead of night. And they happen faster than anyone is ever prepared for. This is Risk on the Road, when routine stops turn fatal. Incident 1. 6 minutes to disaster. Picture a quiet Friday afternoon on March 7th, 2025 in Bismarck, North Dakota. Snow on the ground. A white SUV parked on a residential street. A woman sitting inside. Nothing about that scene screams danger. Nothing about it suggests that within minutes, a police officer would be launched through the air and a woman would be dead.
299 headquarters.
Go ahead.
1140 South 12th Street, 9-way shelter. There's a white Chevy Equinox at the church beside the 9-way. 911 texter said the occupant is 55 and getting escalated. Again, 1140 South 12th.
10-4.
At 12:08 in the afternoon, officers Matthew James and Nathan Anderson were sent to the 1100 block of 12th Street after a concerned citizen sent a 911 text. The caller was worried about a woman, 53-year-old Melanie Udall, sitting alone in a white Chevy Traverse. They feared she might be under the influence. By the time officers arrived, that same caller had already updated dispatch. Things were escalating.
And so as soon as I heard that, I put 2 and 2 together, like, just peeping, like, hearing the, you know how you turn in the gravel scratches? Yeah, I heard that. And then that's when I kind of sped walked to the truck in case she was to ram it. It'd be the truck, not me. So I sped walked to it. And then she rolled her window down. She was like, no, just started screaming. I was like, hey, calm down, like calm down. So she started getting into people owe her money and her dad owns an oil refinery and all types of crazy stuff. While she hasn't drive, so I'm trying to.
Officer Anderson spoke with the witness, who admitted he was afraid Udall might drive directly into him. Meanwhile, Officer James approached the driver's side window and began talking to Udall.
Hi, what's your name, ma'am?
Why are you calling? Why?
We got called to come check on you. They were concerned.
There's nobody concerned.
There was. We got a phone call.
And here is where the story gets truly remarkable, because for the next 6 full minutes, nothing looked wrong. The conversation appeared calm, measured, almost neighborly. Udall talked. James listened. To anyone watching from a distance, it looked like a welfare check going exactly as planned. But beneath that surface, something was very wrong.
Okay. Now my concern is coming
You
out
know
of my
everybody.
concern.
Your concern is you know everybody that
My
I'm feeling.
concern is that the car smells heavily of marijuana.
Officer James could smell marijuana and alcohol coming from inside the vehicle.
Have you step outside of the vehicle here?
No, you're not.
Turn off the car. Turn off the car.
No, you're not.
299. She's fleeing.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car!
Get out of the car!
Now!
299. She almost struck me. Get out of the car!
He asked Udall to step out so he could conduct a proper investigation. She refused. And then, without warning, she started her car. What goes through an officer's mind in that single moment when routine becomes threat? She reversed. She drove forward, straight at Officer James. He threw himself out of the path just in time. She reversed again, and then she deliberately turned her vehicle and accelerated, this time making full contact with Officer James, hitting him with enough force to launch him over a snowbank and slam him into a fence. The impact was so violent that his firearm flew out of its holster and landed on the other side of the barrier. He lay in the snow, injured, with the SUV resting just feet away from his body. At the exact same moment, Officer Anderson opened fire. He struck Udall multiple times. Her vehicle came to a stop on the snowbank. She was rushed to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead. 6 minutes of calm. 1 second of chaos. That is all it took. And that is the brutal reality of what officers face every time they walk up to a car window. They simply do not know what is waiting on the other side. Incident 2, 32 seconds. If the Bismarck incident teaches us anything, it is that danger can hide behind a quiet conversation. But the next story shows us something even more chilling, that sometimes there is no hiding at all. Sometimes everything falls apart before anyone even has a chance to breathe. On June 3, 2025 at 3:16 in the morning, Shelby Township, Michigan, 2 officers with 7 years of experience each pulled over a 2019 Dodge Caravan near the Hotspot coffee shop on Van Dyke Avenue. The driver was 41-year-old Thomas Antonio Jackson. The stop was for a routine traffic violation, nothing more. From the moment those blue lights came on to the moment shots were fired, 32 seconds passed. Jackson got out of the car and ran. One officer gave chase, shouting commands for him to stop. A taser was deployed. It had no effect. A second taser deployment. Still nothing. And then, as the officer's body camera captured in real time, Jackson reached into his clothing and pulled out a handgun, a 9mm Ruger pistol that had been reported stolen out of Detroit 2 years earlier. The second officer arrived on scene, and his voice rang out immediately. Gun, gun, gun. At that moment, with a stolen weapon in the hands of a fleeing man who had already ignored 2 taser deployments, what choice did those officers realistically have? Jackson was ordered to drop the weapon. He did not. One officer fired 8 shots. 5 connected, hitting Jackson in the leg, the buttocks, and 3 times in the torso. Shelby Township firefighters transported him to the hospital, where he died from his wounds.
Those issues that are deemed within a shoot of a sheriff or any other law enforcement official. As a result, this matter was fully investigated. An exhaustive review of the investigation came to the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office Major Crime Unit. That unit's comprised of individuals who have superior skill, knowledge, to discuss all of the evidence, all of the information, all of the body cams, as well as any other evidence that was presented. And after an extensive discussion among the unit members, they concluded this was a justified shooting and no charges would be authorized.
The Macomb County Sheriff's Office conducted an independent investigation. Every piece of evidence, body cameras, vehicle cameras, witness accounts, was handed to the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office. Their conclusion was clear: justified shooting. No charges against the officers. But perhaps the most human moment in this entire incident did not come from a report or a press conference. It came from the body cam footage itself, in the quiet after the gunfire stopped.
Oh man, I just killed this guy. Oh fuck.
An officer, standing over the man he had just shot, said something raw and real. "Oh man, I just killed this guy," for words that carry the full weight of what these encounters cost. Not just the person who was lost, but the person left standing, carrying the memory of 32 seconds for the rest of their life. Incident 3, Daryl Dorn. The first two incidents began without any warning of what was coming. This one did not. By the time officers arrived on West Florissant Avenue in Ferguson, Missouri, on the morning of January 13, 2025, they already knew exactly what they were heading into. And it was bad. It started at 9:52 in the morning with a car accident at West Florissant Avenue and Lucas and Hunt Road. Officers were dispatched for a standard crash response. But before they could even arrive, everything changed. The driver of one of the cars, 37-year-old Daryl Dorn, had walked away from the crash on foot, and he was not walking away quietly. He was firing his handgun into the air and at passing vehicles as he moved northbound along a public street in broad daylight. What made the police response to this incident particularly notable was the real-time intelligence officers were receiving. The St. Louis County Police Regional Information and Intelligence Center was watching the entire situation unfold live through street surveillance cameras. They confirmed it directly to responding officers. Dorn was armed, he was shooting, and he was moving toward Ferguson Avenue. Two St. Louis County officers arrived and made visual contact. Dorn was walking toward them, handgun visible, an extended magazine attached to the weapon.
Genetic. Notify Ferguson if you haven't already.
Drop the gun!
Oh, notify him. I got a first precinct coming too.
You have a call.
One officer stepped forward and gave the command, "Drop the weapon." In that moment, knowing a man who had already been firing at strangers on a public street was now turning toward them, what would you have done? Dorn turned toward the officer and fired. The bullet struck the ground inches from where the officer stood. Both officers returned fire. Dorn ran north toward Ferguson Avenue. Officers pursued in their patrol car.
Get that motherfucker! You point that fucking gun at me.
Any officers yet?
Yeah, I watched him too. Hey, you know what? He's still at Ferguson. We're gonna run him over. You ready? Yeah.
Where's he at? 1-4's in Ferguson. 1-4's in Ferguson. Hold the page. We got an issue truck. Hold the page.
At the intersection of West Florissant and Ferguson Avenue, their vehicle struck Dorn. Despite immediate life-saving efforts on scene, he was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. What remains undeniable is that on that January morning, officers responded to what was labeled a traffic accident and found a man actively trying to kill people on a public street. There was no ambiguity. There was no gray area. There was a gun, a public road, and a choice that had to be made in less time than it takes to read this sentence. In Bismarck, 6 calm minutes collapsed into violence. In Shelby Township, 32 seconds ended a life. In Ferguson, a crash scene became an armed confrontation in broad daylight. 3 cities, 3 traffic-related encounters. One consistent truth: routine can fail without warning. These incidents did not begin as gunfights. They began as ordinary police work, a welfare check, a traffic stop, a crash response. What changed was behavior. What followed was acceleration. And once threat became immediate, time disappeared. The cameras do not argue. They record. They show commands given, warnings shouted, tasers deployed, weapons drawn, shots fired. They show how quickly predictability vanishes on the road. and how permanent the consequences become when it does. This documentary is not about outrage. It is about examination. It is about understanding the exact moment routine turns fatal. If this analysis made you pause, think differently, or see these encounters with greater clarity, share this documentary. Start conversations grounded in evidence, not assumption. Add your perspective in the comments, respectfully and thoughtfully. Like this video to support fact-based analysis of real incidents. And subscribe for more breakdowns of critical moments where power, perception, and decision-making intersect. Because attention shapes understanding. Understanding shapes accountability. And accountability is where safer roads begin.